My name is Ethan Cole, and I've been an EMT in Chicago for over a decade. In those 10 years, I've seen things most people couldn't imagine, things that burrow under your skin and stay with you long after the shift ends. I used to think I could handle it. I used to believe that I was different. But lately, I'm not so sure. It's the little things that get to me now. The way the sirens sound different at night, how the city feels heavier, like it's holding its breath. And the dreams. God, the dreams. Faces I should have forgotten staring back at me, whispering things I don't want to hear. Tonight feels like one of those nights. Yo, Earth to Ethan? Miles's voice snaps me out of my thoughts. He's leaning back in the passenger seat, eyes on me, a smirk tugging at his lips. You've been staring at that radio for 5 minutes, man. You good? I force a chuckle, gripping the steering wheel tighter. Yeah, just tired. Miles nods knowingly. Aren't we all? He stretches, cracking his neck. Anyway, call's been dead tonight. Maybe we'll actually make it through a shift without picking up some junkie OD'd in an alley. I don't respond because deep down, I know better. Quiet nights never stay quiet. And just like that, the radio crackles to life. Unit 17, medical emergency, unknown condition, 341 Hawthorne Avenue, possible unresponsive female. Miles groans. Hawthorne? Damn it, man. That's got to be the 5th call to that place this month. I stare at the address on the screen, a sinking feeling curling in my gut. Yeah, I mutter, and it's never good. Without another word, I flip on the sirens and hit the gas. The streets blur past us, dark and empty, but I can't shake the feeling that something's off. Something about this call feels different. Miles doesn't seem to notice. He's scrolling through his phone, oblivious to the tension creeping up my spine. But I feel it. I always feel it. As we pull up to Hawthorne Avenue, the building looms in front of us like a carcass, rotting and forgotten. The windows are boarded up, the front door hangs loose on broken hinges, and the air smells stale, like something long dead. Miles steps out first, adjusting his gloves. You ready for this? I swallow the lump in my throat and nod. Let's get it over with. We step inside, and the darkness swallows us whole. The air inside the building is thick, stale, carrying the heavy scent of mildew and something else, something metallic. Blood? I push the thought aside. The beam of my flashlight cuts through the darkness, illuminating crumbling walls covered in graffiti, the words twisted and chaotic. EMS! Miles's voice echoes through the empty hallway, bouncing off the peeling wallpaper. No response. I step forward cautiously, my boots crunching over debris. Check the rooms, I say, my voice low. Let's find her and get the hell out. Miles nods and moves down the hall, his light sweeping side to side. The building groans around us, the kind of sound that makes you feel like you're not alone. My gut tightens, but I push forward, forcing my focus on the job. Then I see her, slumped in the far corner of the room, barely visible in the dim light. A woman, curled up into herself, arms wrapped tightly around her knees. Her hair is tangled, matted to her face, and she's rocking slightly, whispering something under her breath. Ma'am? I step closer, crouching down beside her. Can you hear me? She doesn't react. Her lips keep moving, but the words are too soft, too fast. My flashlight catches something on the wall behind her. Deep scratches, like fingernails clawing into the plaster. Miles steps in behind me. Ethan! Look at her hands! I glance down and feel my stomach drop. Her fingertips are raw, bleeding, caked with dirt. She's been clawing at something, maybe at herself, maybe at something else. Hey, I say gently, reaching out to touch her shoulder. We're here to help. Let's get you out of here. The second I make contact, she jerks back violently, her eyes snapping open. They're wide, bloodshot, and filled with something I don't understand. You shouldn't be here, she whispers, her voice hoarse. It knows you now. I exchange a quick glance with Miles. What knows us? She shakes her head violently, pressing her hands over her ears. The dark. It's watching. It never leaves. The hair on my arm stands up. I hear something, faint, distant, a dragging sound. Miles steps back, eyes darting toward the hallway. We're getting out of here, man. This place is wrong. I nod, trying to steady my nerves. All right, let's get her on the stretcher. As we lift her up, the whispering grows louder, except this time, It's not just her. It's coming from the walls, from everywhere. We rush out, our footsteps pounding against the old wooden floor, but I swear I hear something following us, something heavy. We burst through the front doors, gasping in the cool night air. Miles shoves the stretcher into the back of the rig, slamming the doors shut. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I'm done with this place. I can't argue. As I climb into the driver's seat, I glance up at the building one last time. In one of the upstairs windows, I see it. A figure, tall, still, watching. I don't wait to find out more. I slam the ambulance into drive and speed away, but I can't shake the feeling that we didn't leave alone. The rig tears through the empty streets, sirens wailing, but inside, it's dead silent except for the rapid beeping of the heart monitor and the woman's ragged breathing. I grip the wheel tight, my pulse racing, eyes flicking between the road and the rearview mirror. Something isn't right. The city outside feels distant, like it's moving slower than it should. Miles sits in the back, trying to stabilize the woman, but she's fighting him, thrashing against the restraints, whispering under her breath. I can hear her through the partition. Too late. It's already here. It knows your name? I clench my jaw, forcing my focus forward. Just get to the hospital. Just get there. Suddenly, the rig lurches. The lights flicker. Miles? My voice comes out sharper than I intended. What the hell's going on back there? No response. I glance in the mirror, and my blood runs cold. Miles is frozen, staring wide-eyed at the woman. She's stopped moving completely. Just lying there, eyes wide open, lips curled into something that isn't a smile, but feels too much like one. Miles! I bark, snapping him out of it. He stumbles back, shaking his head. Jesus, Ethan, something's wrong with her. She was talking, and then she just... He swallows hard, his face pale. I think she knows us, man. I don't respond. I don't want to believe it. The radio crackles to life, static hissing before dispatch's voice cuts through. Unit 17, status update. I reach for the mic, but before I can respond, the woman sits bolt upright. Ethan! The voice on the radio whispers. I slam the brakes. The ambulance screeches to a halt in the middle of the road, sending Miles crashing into the sidewall. What the hell, man? He shouts, but I'm not listening. I stare at the radio, my chest heaving. Dispatch, say that again. Static. Nothing. My hands are trembling as I turn around. The woman is still upright, eyes locked onto mine, her lips moving slowly. We see you. I feel the weight of something pressing down on me, something crawling beneath my skin. My instincts scream to run, but I'm trapped inside my own goddamn rig. Miles pulls at the stretcher restraints, trying to force her back down, but she doesn't resist. She just stares, her head tilting in an unnatural, jerky motion. You brought it with you, she whispers. I slam the rig into drive and floor it, pushing the engine harder than I should. I don't care. I just need to get to the hospital. Miles is shaking his head, eyes darting to the rear doors like he's expecting them to fly open. Ethan, I swear I saw someone in the street back there. I keep driving, knuckles white. No, you didn't. But I know he did. And I know it's still following us. The hospital looms ahead like a beacon in the night, its sterile lights cutting through the darkness. I keep my foot down, heart hammering in my chest, eyes flicking to the mirrors every few seconds. Every shadow on the road feels like it's moving, watching. Miles grips the rail inside the rig, his voice tight. Ethan, you've got to slow down, man. No, I snap, my voice hoarse. We're getting her inside, now. In the back, the woman is silent, too silent. The only sound is the soft hum of the heart monitor, steady and unnatural. I glance back again and nearly slam on the brakes. She's staring at me, not moving, not blinking. Her lips twitch, and I swear I see them form my name. A loud bang from the back doors makes me jump. Miles flinches. What the hell was that? I don't answer. I can't. I push harder, tires screeching as I swerve into the hospital bay, slamming the rig to a stop. The second we park, I throw the door open and rush around to the back, but my hands freeze on the handle. Miles stands inside, staring down at the woman, his face pale. Ethan, she's not breathing? My stomach drops. I rip the doors open, climbing in. Her eyes are still wide open, staring blankly at the ceiling. I check for a pulse. Nothing. Miles, get the damn gurney out, I bark, snapping into action. We roll her into the ER, the hospital staff swarming us in a blur of motion and shouts. Female, mid-20s, found unresponsive, flatlined in transport, I call out, but the words feel disconnected from my mouth. My mind is racing, my skin crawling. The nurse takes over compressions, but something's wrong. The heart monitor, it's not responding, it's just dead air. No beeps, no activity, just nothing. The doctor looks at me sharply. You sure she was alive when you brought her in? I stare at him, my mouth opening, but I can't find the words, because now I'm not sure. Miles nudges me. Ethan, man, we need to step back. I let him pull me away as the team works on her, their voices distant, drowned out by the sound of my own breathing. We stand in the hallway, both of us shaking. What the hell is going on? Miles mutters, running a hand through his hair. I don't answer. I can't shake the feeling that she's still watching us. Even in there. A nurse rushes past, and I grab her arm. Hey, did she say anything when she came in, before she crashed? She hesitates, her expression uneasy. Yeah, she kept saying, it's in the dark. Over and over. My blood runs cold. Miles grabs my arm. We need to go, Ethan, now. I nod, but before we can move, the heart monitor inside the ER lets out a long, sharp beep. Flatline, a nurse calls it, time of death. We start backing away when suddenly, bang! The ER lights flicker. A sharp, blood-curdling scream erupts from inside. We freeze. The woman sits up. Her head twists unnaturally, her eyes locking onto mine through the glass. Her lips curl into a sickening smile. Miles grabs my arm and yanks me away. Go! We bolt down the hallway, past nurses and patients, shoving through the doors and into the cold night air. My heart is racing, my hands are shaking, and in the distance, I hear it. A whisper. My name. We tear through the hospital parking lot, practically diving into the ambulance. I slam the door shut, locking it behind us, my breath ragged and uneven. Miles is hunched over in the passenger seat, hands in his hair, his chest rising and falling like he's about to hyperventilate. She was dead, Ethan, he gasps, his voice cracking. Dead! And then I know, I snap, gripping the wheel, my hands trembling. I know, all right? Just breathe. But how the hell am I supposed to breathe when I can't shake the image of her, sitting up like some horror show, that grin splitting her face like she knew me? I flick on the ignition, but something's wrong. The engine stutters, struggling to turn over. Come on, I mutter, turning the key again. The headlights flicker weakly, barely illuminating the empty parking lot ahead of us. But then, movement, a shape standing just outside the glow of the lights. Miles sees it too. Ethan, tell me that's a person. I don't answer, because it's not. It's tall, unnaturally so. Its outline flickering in and out of view, like it's shifting between moments in time. And it's watching. I grip the wheel tighter. We're leaving! The engine finally roars to life, and I slam my foot on the gas, tires screeching as we peel out of the lot. I don't look back. I can't. Miles is shaking beside me, staring into the side mirror. It's still there. I risk a glance. The figure is standing in the middle of the road, getting smaller in the mirror as we speed away. But it's not fading into the distance like it should. It's just staring. It's not following us, I say, more to myself than him. Miles laughs nervously, wiping sweat from his forehead. Yeah? Then why does it feel like it's already here? I don't answer. The streets blur past in a haze of flashing lights and speed. But no matter how far we drive, I can't shake the feeling that something's riding with us. Suddenly the radio crackles. Unit 17. My stomach drops. Dispatch? Unit 17. The voice is faint, distorted by static. Then, in a whisper, Ethan. I slam the brakes so hard the rig fishtails, tires screaming against the pavement. What the hell, man? Miles shouts, gripping the dashboard. I stare at the radio, my chest heaving. Did you hear that? He nods slowly, his face pale. Ethan, what the hell is happening? I reach for the radio with a trembling hand. Dispatch! Are you calling us? Static. Then a voice, not dispatch, not human. It's inside. My blood turns to ice. Miles scrambles for the door. I'm done, man. I'm done. But before he can move, the overhead lights flicker, plunging the ambulance into darkness for a split second. Then the doors in the back slam, rattling violently, as if something's trying to get in. Drive, Ethan! Miles screams. I don't think. I just floor it. The rig surges forward, speeding through the empty streets, but the banging doesn't stop. Whatever's outside, or inside, it's not letting us go. And then the radio crackles one last time. You brought it with you. I can't breathe. I can't think. All I know is that we're not going to outrun this. I don't stop. I can't. The ambulance barrels down the streets, the city lights streaking past in a blur. Miles is gripping the dashboard so hard, his knuckles have gone white, his eyes locked on the rear doors, flinching every time they rattle. It's still back there, Ethan, he shouts. I can feel it. I don't respond. My foot stays planted on the accelerator, my hands gripping the wheel so tight it feels like my bones might snap. Then the rig lurches, hard. Something heavy slams against the side, sending us skidding into the opposite lane. Horns blare as I fight the wheel, barely keeping us from flipping. My heart is hammering, sweat stinging my eyes. Jesus Christ, Miles yells. What the hell was that? I don't answer. I can't. My eyes flick to the side mirror, and I wish I hadn't looked. In the reflection, I see something clinging to the side of the ambulance. A shape, humanoid but wrong. Its limbs too long, too thin, stretched unnaturally. Its face is obscured by shadow, but I know it's watching me. A whisper slides through the cab, thick and sickly. Let me in. My stomach clenches. Not a chance, I mutter, and I yank the wheel hard, swerving. The figure slides off, disappearing into the night. But I know it's not gone. Not really. Miles is gasping for air beside me. Ethan, we have to stop. We have to get out of this rig. We can't stop, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. Not here. The radio crackles again, but this time it's not static. It's the woman's voice, soft, haunting. You shouldn't have come. It's too late. My skin crawls. I punch the radio off, but the whispering doesn't stop. It's in my head now, weaving through every thought, suffocating me. Then the lights flicker again, and a low thump echoes from the back. Miles locks eyes with me, his face pale as death. Ethan, it's inside. I don't respond. I can't. My foot is still pressed to the floor, but no matter how fast I go, the darkness outside the rig feels like it's closing in, swallowing us whole. Another thump, then another, and then, slowly, the stretcher in the back begins to move. I see it through the partition mirror, shifting, jerking in tiny motions, like something underneath it is pushing up against it. I slam my fist against the dashboard. Hold it together, Miles! But he's losing it. He's scrambling to unbuckle himself, desperate to get out, clawing at the door handle. I'm not dying in this rig, man. I'm not... Suddenly, the rear doors explode open, and a blast of cold air rushes inside. I swerve wildly, the tires screeching against the pavement. Miles screams. I glance back, and that thing is there, lunging forward, its hands reaching, its face still hidden in shadow, but grinning. Always grinning. I slam on the brakes. The rig screeches to a halt, and Miles is thrown against the dashboard with a grunt. I turn, heart pounding, and the thing is gone. The back doors slam shut on their own. Silence. We're both gasping, the rig idling in the middle of an empty street, the city around us feeling distant, unreal. Miles leans back, his chest heaving. Ethan, he whispers, his voice shaking. We have to get out of this rig, now. I nod, but deep down, I know. We're already too late. I throw the rig into park and fumble for the door handle. My hands are slick with sweat, trembling so bad I can barely grip it. Miles is already out, stumbling onto the pavement, his breath ragged and wild. I follow, slamming the door behind me, my chest heaving as I suck in the cold night air. The city feels wrong, too quiet, too still. The streets stretch empty in every direction, the streetlights flickering like they're barely holding on. Miles is pacing, hands in his hair, his eyes darting to the ambulance like it's going to lurch at us any second. Ethan, what the hell do we do? What the hell do we do? I can't answer. I don't know. My whole body is screaming at me to run. to get as far away from this place, from that rig, as possible. But something keeps me rooted. I stare at the ambulance, my reflection staring back at me in the window. Except it's not my reflection. It's him, the figure, standing right where I should be, staring back at me through the glass with that twisted, empty grin. "Move, Ethan," Miles shouts, grabbing my arm and yanking me backward. The rig's headlights flicker, the engine sputtering on its own. The thing in the reflection tilts its head, like it's watching, waiting. And then the siren blares, a deafening wail that cuts through the empty streets. Miles takes off running. "Screw this, man! I'm done!" I stumble after him, my legs barely cooperating. "Wait, Miles, hold on." He doesn't. He just keeps running, feet pounding against the pavement, and I know he's not going to stop. I glance back at the rig one last time. The back doors are hanging open again, swinging gently in the night breeze. And inside, I see movement, something shifting, crawling. No. I turn and bolt, sprinting after Miles as fast as I can, my heart hammering in my ears. We duck into an alleyway, leaning against the brick wall, gasping for air. Miles grips my arm, his eyes wild. "It's real, man! It's real, and it's in there!" I nod, trying to swallow down the rising panic clawing at my throat. I know. The ambulance sits at the end of the street, its lights pulsing weakly, almost like it's breathing. I can still hear the faint crackle of the radio inside, static whispering things I don't want to understand. I pull out my phone, hands shaking, and dial dispatch. It rings once, twice, then it answers. But it's not dispatch. A voice soft and wet whispers through the line. "We found you." I drop the phone like it burns. Miles stares at me, wide-eyed. "What? What did they say?" I shake my head, backing away, barely able to get the words out. "It's not over, Miles. It's never been over." Before he can respond, the streetlights flicker again. And then, one by one, they start going out. Miles grabs my arm. "We need to go. Now." We run. But I know, deep down, that we can't outrun it. We never could. We run. Feet pounding the pavement, lungs burning, the cold night air slicing through my chest like a blade. The city around us feels wrong, too quiet, too empty, like we've stepped into some forgotten place where nothing is real anymore. Miles stumbles beside me, gasping, his eyes darting to every shadow. "Ethan, we gotta hide." I don't respond. I can't. My ears are still ringing with that voice from the phone, that whisper curling inside my skull like a parasite. "We found you." We duck into a 24-hour diner, collapsing into a booth near the back, both of us shaking like leaves. The fluorescent lights hum overhead, flickering slightly, but for the first time all night, I feel a sliver of safety. A waitress eyes us from behind the counter, chewing gum, clearly debating if we're worth the trouble. I wave her off before she can come over. The last thing I need is small talk. Miles leans in, his voice a frantic whisper. "What the hell do we do, man? That thing, whatever it is, it's not just some hallucination. It's real. You saw it." I rub my face, trying to steady my breathing. "I know," I mutter, staring at the table, my mind racing. "We need to end this. Whatever it is, it's tied to that rig. We get rid of it, maybe we can." The diner lights flicker again, this time harder. Miles freezes, eyes wide. No, man, not here." I glance toward the front of the diner. Through the large windows, the ambulance is parked across the street, right where we left it. The engine is off, but the lights are on, pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. My stomach turns. "We didn't—" Miles swallows hard. "We didn't park it there, Ethan." I shake my head slowly, eyes locked on the rig. "No, we didn't." The diner goes deathly silent. The hum of the fluorescent lights grows louder, pressing against my ears, and I swear the shadows outside are moving. The waitress approaches, hesitant. You guys okay?" Before I can answer, the radio on my hip crackles. "Come back, Unit 17. Come back." Miles grabs my arm, his grip like a vice. "Ethan, we have to go." I nod, but as we stand, the ambulance's headlights flick on, bright, blinding, aimed right at us. And then the sirens blare. The glass windows shake with the force of it, people in the diner flinching and covering their ears. I don't wait. I grab Miles and bolt for the back exit. shoving through the kitchen, knocking over trays of food, and crashing through the metal door into the alley. We stumble out into the cold, but the rig is already waiting for us. It's right there, at the alley's entrance, headlights cutting through the dark like searching eyes. The back doors swing open slowly, creaking like an invitation. Miles backs away, shaking his head. No way, I'm not going near it. I stare at the open doors, my heart pounding so hard it feels like my chest might split open. But I know we can't keep running. We end this, I say, stepping forward. Now! Miles grabs my arm, his eyes pleading. Ethan, you're gonna get us killed. I don't answer, because deep down, I know he might be right. But I step inside anyway. And the doors slam shut behind me. The doors slam shut with a force that shakes the entire rig. Darkness engulfs me, thick and suffocating. The air inside is different, stale, heavy, wrong. My flashlight flickers as I fumble for it, my breath coming in short, ragged gasps. Something's here. I can feel it. I reach for the interior lights, but the switch does nothing. The rig stays dark, humming with an unsettling energy, like it's alive. Behind me, the gurney shifts, a soft creak, barely audible over the pounding in my ears. I whip around, flashlight trembling in my grip. Nothing. Just the stretcher, empty straps dangling loosely, swaying gently as if someone had just been lying there. And then the radio crackles. Unit 17, come back, come back. But the voice, it's not dispatch, it's mine. I freeze, my own voice echoing back at me through the static. Come back. Ethan, you brought it with you. A sharp bang from the rear doors sends my pulse skyrocketing. I spin toward the sound, the flashlight beam cutting through the dark. Who's there? No answer. Instead, something brushes against my arm. Cold, wet, wrong. I stagger back, slamming into the cabinets, the flashlight slipping from my grip and rolling across the floor, spinning wildly. Shadows dance on the walls, twisting and stretching. And then I see it. In the reflection of the stainless steel cabinets, something behind me, tall, lurking, watching. Its face is featureless, but I feel it staring. I don't think. I lunge for the doors, my hands scrabbling against the handles, but they don't budge. The locks won't release. I pound against the metal. Miles, open the damn doors! Outside, faintly, I hear him yelling, his fists banging on the side of the rig. Ethan, open up! I can't, I shout, my voice cracking. The rig groans, the walls pressing in like they're breathing. A whisper slithers through the dark. You can't leave. I turn, my back pressed against the cold metal, and the figure is there, closer now, too close. Its head tilts unnaturally, as if it's studying me, and I swear I can hear it. Breathing. My chest tightens. My fingers fumble for anything. A scalpel, scissors, something sharp. I grab the defibrillator paddles, holding them up like a weapon, my hands shaking. You're not real, I mutter through gritted teeth. You're not real. It doesn't move, just watches. Then, suddenly it lunges. I scream, slamming the paddles against the figure, pressing the charge button. A blinding flash fills the rig, and for a split second, I see it. A face, twisted, grinning, my own, and then... The doors burst open and I tumble out onto the pavement, gasping for air. Miles hauls me up, his eyes wide with fear. What the hell happened in there? I can't speak. My hands are trembling, my mind racing. I glance back at the rig, its interior now empty, sterile, like nothing ever happened. But I know better. We need to get rid of it, I say, my voice hoarse. Now! Miles nods, and for once he doesn't argue, because we both know it's not over, not yet.